Hi, it's your good friend Carrie. Well, I am gonna do another book tag this week. It's in honor of, well, my birthday was earlier this week. And I didn't have any cake or anything like that. It's fine, I didn't really want it, but I thought I'll do the book cake tag, um, in honor of that. So that'll sort of, if you want to say, stand in as the cake that I should have had for my birthday. Um, but no, I just didn't want it. I had something else instead. But yeah, I decided to do that for you today. So this was a tag created by Suddenllylorna, and she's a YouTuber, of course. And the link to her video is down there in the description. And the way you do this is you take ingredients that you would use to make a cake, and there's a statement that goes along with the ingredients. Um, and there's 7 of them, so I'm gonna get started on that. So the first ingredient is flour, and I'm also going to be a little bit creative here too. Put titles down there in the lower thirds. Just when you saw the flour, I was gonna try to be a little more creative like that. And that's a book that was slow to start off, but picked up as it went along. Excuse me. And I said Gypped by Carol Higgins Clark, which I might have featured before or something. But anyway, it starts off with mention of a game show, and there's this man who appears to be a thief that's lurking around a parking garage. So the character of Reagan sees him and, yeah, asks, herself who he is, what's he doing, um, and and then, yeah, there's reference to a game show and how Reagan meets this character named Zelda, or reunites with this character named Zelda, and then there's a party. Then Zelda she doesn't feel well. She gets food poisoning. And so then, yeah, after I started getting more into it, yes, it was easier to read. And I think the reason why it was slow is because it's part of a mystery. And I found out on Goodreads that this is number 15 of a mystery series by Carol Higgins Clark, where the character is Reagan Riley, because it says it's a Reagan Riley mystery. And I thought this was a standalone book when I found it. And yeah, so that's maybe. I'm guessing that within the other 14 books that preceded this, maybe there was a featured game show where Reagan met Zelda. But once I got past that beginning part, yes, then it was easier to read, and yeah, then it was easier to excuse me. It was easier to read, and it was a little bit faster because I got through it very quickly too. So the next ingredient is butter or margarine, depending on whatever. And that's a book with a rich and great plot. In this book, I love this. Okay, I've featured this before. I've made a point of how much I love it. This Is Where I Leave You by Jonathan Tropper. Amazing book. It was great, because it had a family he just doesn't feel close with, except some of his brothers or Wendy. It's really how he doesn't really feel close with his mother Hillary, and I mean Judd is the main character, of course, and the book just, it really kept me interested, and it was a real page turner. I read it quickly, and I loved it. I read it everywhere I went, basically, and it was just an amazing book. I loved the plot. It was easy to connect to and relate to, and um, just, yeah, really, really kept me intrigued. And so, yeah, rich and great. I would describe this. So the next ingredient is eggs, which I don't actually like, but it's a book that you thought was going to be bad, but it turned out to be enjoyable. And I'm saying Wolf in White Van by John Darnielle. Uh, this book, I liked it, but I don't know why I liked it. I know it's a little weird, but I when I got this, I thought, well, it seems like it's gonna be tricky to understand, and it was. Don't get me wrong, but I liked it. It's really weird. I know it's complicated. It's a very complex book, but I'm glad I read it, and I think that's why I liked it. It's because it's not it's a type of fiction that I normally don't read, and I was glad that that it kept that it pushed me to finish it, and that I did, and I like that I finished it. So now I've read something that I normally don't read. It's just a subgenre of fiction that yeah, it's okay, yeah. Even the genre is a little complex, but yeah, it's a very weird book. But I finished it and I liked it, and I know it's really weird for me to say keep liking this book, but I don't know why I liked it. So I'm just gonna move on. You'll just have to take my word that I liked it and that I liked that I finished it, but it was a little weird to read. That's all I'm gonna say for that. Okay, the next ingredient is sugar, which is a very sweet book. And this is also not a surprise because I've made a point of how much I like this too. But it's 7 Days and 7 Nights by Wendy Wax. Again, I like it because it's yes, and I keep saying this every time I feature it. It's sappy romance, but there's to me there's more to sappy romance than that, and I talk about how I'm a media enthusiast and a media major because I majored that in college, and so the characters they work in broadcasting, and I like that. And yes, I like this book, and I like Olivia and Matt. And anyway, the reason why it's sweet is because yes, it's sappy romance, but and it has a happy ending, and there's some conflict too because that's what the book is about. It's how Matt and Olivia can't get along with each other, and despite that, it's a nice book to kind of put a smile on your face in lots of parts because it's funny, and it's nice and sweet, and it's a nice book to curl up with, and it's really, I'm sure any romance book can be considered very sweet book, but I chose this one because it's the only romance novel where I'm actually brave of saying that I like it. And yes, it's just nice to curl up with and puts a smile on your face. Okay, the next book or the next ingredient is Icing, and that's a book that covered every single element about books that you like about them. And whether it's about the genre, whether it's happy or sad moments, whether there's action, stuff like that. And I'm saying The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks because this covered everything I like. It had drama, it's sadness, death, romance, family drama, um, and it's a good summer book too, and it's a nice summer read, and I like summer reads, and um, it was just it really reading it. Yes, like This Is Where I Leave You. I described it as a real page turner. This is too because it really kept me intrigued, and it kept it really kept me involved into the book, and I loved it, and it there was so much stuff about this that I like. Even music. I forgot to say music. That's essential to this book. Um, I mean, not music so much as that two of the characters are both have musical talents. And yes, it was great. It dealt with everything that I like. Not everything. I won't say everything, but I will say a lot of things that I like in literature. Okay, the next ingredient. Well, it's not an ingredient, but it's a topping. It's sprinkles, and it's the sixth one. And it's a book series that you turn to when you need a little pick me up. And I said NA for this because you know me in series, and if you don't, well then I'll say it's because I want to read standalone books because it's one book, one plot, then you can move on to something else. I do have series, but I read the first books in series. And I also didn't want to change the question. I didn't want to think of a standalone book because since I didn't create the tag, I don't know what Suddenllylorna if it would be okay to change her question to a book, or a book or series that you turn to for a little pick me up. So I just left it, and yes, I just said NA, just because it's how I read series. I don't read a lot of series, and if I do, it's generally the first book to see if I want to continue with the rest of it. So I'm gonna go to the next one. Okay, the last one, which is the seventh one, and it's Cherries, which I also don't like either. And that's your favorite book this year so far. Just in case it's the middle of the year, like right now it's June. And I said Paper Towns because honestly, I read this last fall, so it was still 2014 at the time when I read this, only because the movie's coming out in a month, and so it's I'm saying this because I know I read it last year, but I'm saying this because the movie's coming out this summer, and I'm excited for that. So that's really why I'm saying this, and yeah, I loved it, and thought it was a little more cheerful than The Fault in Our Stars, but not as comical as An Abundance of Catherines. It's kind of in the middle of those, and it yeah. So I know I'm yeah. I didn't want to change the series question, but I still changed the type of book for this question too. I was supposed to say one that I read this spring, but I thought of this one because of the movie. So yeah, I um, can't wait for it either. I'm excited to see it. So yeah. So that was the book cake tag, and it was in honor of my birthday, which was a few days ago. And I didn't do anything too special for it. Actually, I just treated it like it was a regular day. Um, and I didn't even have any cake, but that's what this segment was for. So, because I didn't have any cake on my birthday, so I thought I'll just do the book cake tag. And it was created by Suddenllylorna, and all the ingredients are down there in the description, as well as the statements that go along with them. And her original video is down there too. So if you wanted to see that. So that was that, and I hope you subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.